Over the past few days, a few other moves have happened, but I'm only going to cover the ones that I think are the most interesting or, I don't know, just good storylines. Obviously, some teams have been finding more auxiliary pieces, but I'm going to talk about a few that I think are interesting that could actually change a few things in the NBA. First off, we're going to start with the Milwaukee Bucks. What the heck are the Bucks doing? They waive Damian Lillard. They're going to pay him $22.2 million a year over the next 5 years to have him not play on their team. That's pretty wild. I mean, you're talking about an all-star caliber player. Of course, he's not playing for them next year. He tore his Achilles in the playoffs. But, you got to assume if you want to win a championship with Giannis, you got to have that second star, which is exactly what Damian Lillard was. He was a star that fit perfectly with Giannis. Got to question their idea with that. But they clearly did it to pick up Miles Turner to be their new center to replace Brook Lopez. Do I think Miles Turner is better than Brook Lopez right now? Yes. Of course he is. But, I don't think it's worth getting rid of Damian Lillard for 1 year of contention. Because I feel like the Bucks probably still would have made the playoffs next year even without Miles Turner or Brook Lopez. Just the fact that you have Giannis Antetokounmpo on your team, I feel like is enough. But I feel like they would be better off just waiting until Dame got healthy rather than sacrificing about, close to $50 million over the next 4 years and then another 22 after Turner's contract is up. You're still paying Damian Lillard to be off of your team. He might even be retired by then. But, Miles Turner, 107 over 4 years. That's a pretty good number. I don't know, for an above average starting center, probably a top 10 center in the NBA. Towards 10, not towards the top. But I don't know. You're basically just signing a younger Brook Lopez and losing your star point guard. So I'm not a huge fan of this move. I hope it works out for them. I love Giannis. I want him to succeed, but I don't know. Also, kind of weird. I feel like if Miles Turner wanted to stay with the Pacers, $4 million a year isn't that big of a pay cut in the NBA. I feel like he's making plenty of money. 3 years, $60 million is what they were giving him. Of course, he's missing another year, and close to a little over $20 million, plus that $20 million in that next year, which, it's a lot of money, but I don't know, he probably still would have made over $20 million if he got extended again. If he really wanted to keep contending with Indiana, who he'd been with for 10 years, I feel like it's not asking that much to take that little pay cut just so you can stay on this contending team that you've been a part of for your entire NBA career. Either way, I don't like them losing Dame. I do like them getting Miles Turner. He's a real starting center. He might even take a leap. Really, he's probably their second best player behind Giannis offensively, and he's probably their best defensive player. You could argue Giannis is, but I feel like Miles Turner has been quite good defensively over the past however long he's been in the NBA, which is 10 years. Also traded Pat Connaughton and 2 seconds for Vasilije Micic. Kind of a nothing move. I think it was to clear salary. Feel bad for Pat to be in Charlotte. I hope things work out over there. Next, we'll move on to the Lakers. Signed DeAndre Ayton, 2 years, $16 million, so $8 million a year. You're getting one of the best centers in the NBA, in my opinion. Really good. He just needs to apply himself, and I think on this Lakers team, he is going to do just that. They're going to be competing for a championship with Luka and with LeBron, and those are two players who I think their play style might activate something we haven't seen in DeAndre Ayton yet. That's kind of been dormant since they made the finals whenever he was in Phoenix. So, I don't know. I really like that move, especially because they kept Jackson Hayes too. who can be the backup to DeAndre Ayton. Really good move. Talked about Jake LaRavia in the last video and Dorian Finney-Smith, but now you're looking at it as they lost Dorian Finney-Smith and in return got Ayton and LaRavia, which isn't as bad. As a big Dorian fan, because of, I'm in Dallas. I love Dallas still, I know. But I loved watching Dorian in Dallas, and Rob Pelinka trying to get Dorian's value down by lying to teams about his knee being cooked, his knee is done, trying to get his value down so they could re-sign him. I mean, that's kind of shady. I don't know. I don't really like what the Lakers are doing in that front. Makes me dislike Rob Pelinka even more. But I mean, DeAndre Ayton, $8 million a year, really good number. I think he's going to do really well with Luka Doncic and LeBron. People are painting it as a big three. It's definitely not a big three. It's still just a duo. And I don't know why they're cutting Reeves out. Reeves is better than Ayton. But yeah, really like it. This kind of sets them up to stay in the same position they were in last year, if not be a little bit better, because he is a huge upgrade at that center position. And outside of him, they've got the same starting five. So good for the Lakers. Something I want to talk about with the Dallas Mavericks, they've been kind of rotating their coaching staff, which some people might see as a bad thing. A lot of the Mavs coaching staff have been hired away to higher positions in different teams, which I kind of see as well, we just did have a really good coaching staff, and we lost all of them because there were no places for them to move up in the assistant coaching room. It's not, they've been drawn away because Dallas is not going to be able to keep them, It's more they've been drawn away because they've done so well in Dallas that they're getting new positions, higher positions, moving up in coaching staff rooms. So that's cool. But, it kind of sucks for the Mavs. They're losing all these guys. They're losing Sean Sweeney, God Shamgod, Jared Dudley. Who knows what happens with Darrell Armstrong after, getting arrested in February. He's been on a leave of absence from the team. But they brought in Frank Vogel, Mike Penberthy today, Jay Triano, and then Phil Handy is someone who's rumored to come to the Mavs. And if I've seen anything, if you're rumored to come to the Mavs or leave the Mavericks in the coaching staff room, you're probably going to join or leave, depending on your situation. Frank Vogel, huge get, championship head coach. Mike Penberthy was actually also a part of that 2020 championship assistant coach room for the Lakers. Jay Triano, great defensive coach. Maybe not great, but he's had a very good career. Former head coach, well known for his defense. Been a good lead assistant over the past few years. And Phil Handy is someone who's close to Kyrie Irving and also just well-respected player development guy. Something to notice, Vogel, Penberthy, and Handy, and Jason Kidd, the head coach, were all on that 2020 Lakers that 2020 Lakers coaching staff. And I find that really interesting because, what's something they did really well? Well, they maximized Anthony Davis. That could be exactly what they're trying to do in Dallas right now with Kidd. It seems like they're trying to go all in on maximizing Anthony Davis and trying to compete for a championship. So while the Mavs may be losing a lot of assistant coaches, they're also getting in high-quality ones, and I think it's probably to fit the team that's currently constructed better. The previous team was very guard-heavy, centered around, blocking out Doncic's defensive liability while also maximizing what he does great on offense. Now we don't have that. There's not that same hole on the defensive side, and the offensive focus is very different. So they have to kind of shift focus coaching-wise, and I think they're actually doing a great job of that. And then something that has just kind of come through, Bradley Beal is probably going to get waived. So the stretch and wave thing that's happening with Damian Lillard is probably going to happen with Bradley Beal. I think this is really weird. I don't know. it's going to kind of keep Phoenix, bad for a minute, They're also going to have a bunch of dead cap that they can't use because they're going to keep paying Bradley Beal if they agree to a buyout. Yeah. Well, that'll be interesting. A lot of people are counting Bradley Beal out just because he hasn't been the same player in Phoenix, but he's still been very efficient. He's still a good offensive option. And, if he takes a huge pay cut to be, a bench piece or even a fringe starter, he could make a huge difference on a good team. So I'm very interested to see what happens with Bradley Beal. Next, I've got some notes on Summer League. Sorry if, one of your favorite teams had a great game or a player on your favorite team had a really good game and I'm not going to talk about it. I just have a few people I want to talk about. First off, VJ Edgecombe. Everyone's talking about him. He had a great first Summer League game for the Sixers. Dropped 28 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks, and he just looked dynamic. I'm really excited to see what VJ Edgecombe can do. Looks like a great pick. If there's one thing I know about a guy wearing number 77, he's probably going to be very good. It's become more popular recently to wear it, and those players haven't really panned out, but for a top pick, specifically pick number 3, they're probably going to be a star. And he looked like a star in his first game. Kyle Filipowski, 22 points, and shot 72.7% from the field, 50% from 3, I'm pretty sure. Great game from Kyle Filipowski. Looked pretty great out there. Ace Bailey looked kind of lost. But I feel like, I think he'll pick it up. I am actually a believer in Ace Bailey. I know a lot of people aren't a big fan of the way he treated the draft process. And I also am not a huge fan of that, but I think that's more due to misguidance from his agent than because of him. Seems like a real positive kid. I hope he can do well. And while he may not have had the best Summer League debut, he still shined in a few moments. Like, his block was really good. He put the free throw in that, ended their game, basically. Gave them the win over VJ Edgecombe and the Sixers. So, shot 3 for 13. But I'm going to overlook that. Summer League doesn't always matter. Jalen Brunson looked really bad in his first Summer League. Kevin Knox looked amazing in his first Summer League. Flip-flop. I remember watching Evan Mobley in the Summer League, and I didn't think he looked that great. And here he is, Defensive Player of the Year, All-Star, starter on the number 1 seed in the East. So, Summer League really doesn't mean much when it comes to numbers, but, it's still fun to analyze. Another player, AJ Mitchell, probably too good for the Summer League. 24 points, 6 assists, probably should bench him. Give more minutes to guys like Topic, who are unproven, I don't know. Really like AJ Mitchell. He's too good for the Summer League. Another guy that's too good for the Summer League, Jalen Wells and G.G. Jackson. Both dropped 20 points. While Wells didn't shoot very efficiently, just kind of had an all-around good game, as you would expect from him. He was a starter on a playoff team in the West. And G.G. Jackson, he kind of had a disappointing year last year after a great rookie year. Maybe not great, but very good. He overperformed as a rookie. And then kind of disappointed, but really good game. Shot over 50% from the field, 38 from 3, 20 points. Not much more you can ask for. I think they should probably both be shut down. You're talking about a starter in Jalen Wells, and G.G. Jackson's going into his 3rd year, so I don't think they really need to be out there. And then a couple of Lakers that I want to talk about. First off, obviously, I'm going to talk about Bronny James. Not for the clickbaity things, but more because I was actually really impressed watching him today. He only played 11 minutes, but he got 10 points, 2 rebounds, and 1 steal. And let me tell you, the way he started this game really had me thinking this guy could be a real NBA rotation piece. I mean, his defense was really good. Started it out with a huge just opening steal, I think, on Jonas, which I mean, that's top 20 pick. He was projected to be a lottery pick and then just dropped. But huge steal, and then monster dunk. Looked like his dad, just about 10 inches shorter. But I was really impressed. Went on to just kind of have a all-around good game, not even playing that much. So I really liked what Bronny did. And then Cole Swider, averaging 22 through 2 games, 5.5 rebounds. But something that's super impressive has been his efficiency. I know it's just 2 games, but he shot 70% from the field in both games, 7 for 10. And overall, his three-point percentage is 61.5. Crazy. Yeah. I mean, 6 for 8 in the first game, and in the second game, he still shot 40%, 2 for 5. So I don't know. I think Cole Swider could be in for a jump and actually getting a roster spot, like a real one this time. And then Bronny, I was impressed. I'm really excited to keep seeing these guys. Like I said, AJ Mitchell, Jalen Wells, and G.G. Jackson are probably too good. Maybe even Kyle Filipowski. But, I still want to see them. So I hope they don't get shut down. Yeah, a little disappointed in Dalton Connect. I want to see more from him. I was really high on him out of the draft, and I thought he had a very solid rookie year. So I want to see more from him in the summer league. But yeah, hope y'all enjoyed.